Hey everyone, Mr. Mom Collectibles. I am back with another video. This is going to be a showcase series on the InArt Joker, the Phoenix 4-pack. This is something that I've had for a couple weeks now. I was going to do an unboxing of it, but I really wanted to take my time, and I'm so glad I did. And treated each figure really individually and took my time unboxing them and posing them up. And in this video, we're basically just going to do a showcasing where I'm going to give each figure its own time in the spotlight, talk about the pros and the cons of each and what my thoughts were, and just kind of give you an overall, kind of thing like that. But before we get started, of course, I have to reach out and give a huge thank you to the man who was able to secure me this set, which is Jeremy Casa over at Plastic Hero Collectibles. He was able to come through. I had this pre-ordered with him, and he was able to secure this one for me. So Jeremy, as always, thank you so much. And if you guys are interested in getting anything, pre-orders, exclusives, hard to find items, as always, Jeremy's your man. I'll link all his information in the description of this video. So this is just going through the figures themselves. These poses that you see are how they are displayed on my collection. Like these, that's one of the things I am going to talk about with each figure is how I came about the pose, because that's actually what I saw was one of my more difficult challenges, which was posing these figures up and trying to figure out something that represented each character to the best of its ability. And when you have all four of these on the shelf, this is without a doubt the most impressive set that I have in my 6-scale collection. It's also the most expensive set in my 6-scale collection, not including any vehicles. So this set is just one that is absolutely stunning. It's not perfect. There's definitely some concerns I had about a couple things, which I will address all of that, of course. But I'm just giving each figure a little bit of time. As you can see here, just floating around with the camera. There's going to be some really tight shots, some macro shots, up close, far away. I just wanted a video document to stay for YouTube, for anyone who wants to see just a different visual perspective of this set. This is it. So let's just jump right into it and start with the first figure that to me is just as advertised. And what I mean by that, it's very basic and there's not much to it that you can do, but that's not a bad thing. And that is the bathroom scene Joker. This figure itself, InArt did a lot of the work for you. What I mean by that is you can't pose him in a wrong way, but it's very minimalistic. This figure did not surprise me in a bad or good way. Like I said, it came as advertised. The head sculpt itself has obviously the closed eyes, and also the sculpt itself is already tilted in a certain direction. That is something about these head sculpts, is that they are not just a head sculpt. They are also fixated to a neck that goes a little bit down to the collarbone. So there is a limitation in posing the actual head sculpts. You mostly can just do like a left and a right. Really can't go up and down as much, just because of how the head sculpt is fixed to the neck. But with the bathroom Joker, it is also on a tilt to try to help replicate him dancing. This is the one that was probably the fastest to pose, and I just kind of left it like that. And like I said, there is no wrong way to do this. You kind of put the hands out. I did rewatch the bathroom dance a few times, and there really was no one way to do it. So cross his legs a little bit, have his hands out, and that's pretty much it. It represents the character in that one scene, I think, to the best of its ability. The tailoring on the outfit is great. There is obviously going to be some redundancies, like this outfit here is the same as the Clown Joker, obviously when he shoots the 3 Bruce Wayne employees. So there's going to be some redundancies and things. The tailoring is obviously great on the outfit, and just this moment that it captures is just a fantastic figure. The hair is great. I, as always with sculpted hair, have concerns on whether or not there is any maintenance I have to do. I can tell you that on all 4 figures, I never touched the hair once. How you see the figure in this video is exactly how I got it out of the packaging, minus one figure, I will say. So I kind of backtrack a little bit, but it technically doesn't have rooted hair. So anything with the rooted hair, I did not have to touch. But this is just a figure that it is an exquisite piece. I don't know if this is everyone's favorite of the four. So that being said, but the thing is, I don't feel like unless you have it in hand, you can really fully appreciate this piece. I think the body proportions on it are great. And then this is just going to be some up close shots here of the head sculpt. I have them on a rotating base. I think the paint application is really great with the blood. I have seen some people go back in and do a repaint and adding a little bit more blood to be a little bit more, accurate. But for me, I think it looks just great as is. It really captures the essence of that moment. My only one criticism of this piece is the diorama. InArt, I thought, was a little inconsistent with the diorama pieces. He just gets a standard square base with the magnet. And so I feel like for something like this, I think every piece should have had a diorama, especially for the price of what this set was. So they really went all out on 2 of the 4 figures. So that's the only thing that kind of bums me out, is that this piece here just gets a very generic base with the tiling from the bathroom scene and nothing more. And so I feel like there's just a visual inconsistency, if that's a fair way of looking at it, is you have that really big, impressive display base from the Maury show in the background there, and then you have like this and the clown, which are just on regular square bases. Now, this is going to be a repetition of the other 3 figures. This is just me up close with kind of like a macro lens that I have on my Sony camera. So I apologize if there's a little bit of shakiness, but as the closer you tight, I was on a tripod too, but I wanted to just get some really up close, detailed look, visuals of, the hair, the paint application, just stuff like that, just because I don't know if that's something that people are going to have the opportunity to see on YouTube a lot. And so I just wanted to try to get as much visual, presence as I could with these figures. So for every figure, you'll see just kind of a rotating base, and then I'll do a macro close up at the end. But this just gives you an idea of the paint application on this particular figure and just how exquisite I think this is. I think InArt did a fantastic job. They nailed it. I think the paint applications are on par with other figures. I don't mean that in a negative way. What's really impressive about this 4-pack is that there's no drop off on any figure. There's not one figure of the 4 I could tell you, well, it's visually the weakest in terms of either paint application or the tailoring. Each one of them in their own right stands on their own perfectly. They could have been sold individual and the quality was there for all of them. So that's probably what really impresses me the most about this set, is how all 4 of them, as I said, really hold up in terms of a quality point of view. Now we're going to move on to, surprisingly, and this is in no sequencing, there's no rhyme or reason as to the sequencing of these figures. This is actually my sleeper figure, the one I did not expect to like the most, but this is actually the Joker of the 4 that is my favorite. And this is the clown / the hospital Joker. When this arrives in the packaging, he has the doctor's jacket on. I instantly removed that because I never had the intention of displaying him with that jacket. I wanted him in this look, which is at the very opening sequence of the movie. And this is another one that I went back and watched that opening sequence quite a few times to try to figure out what pose I ultimately wanted the figure in. I tried a various amount of poses. I tried him holding the sign so it could spin, things like that. There is one frame at the very beginning of the movie that's not even close up, and it's of him doing this where he literally just puts the sign above his head and spreads his legs as wide open as he can. And I really just liked that idea of that pose, and so that's what I attempted to replicate here. Now, right off the bat, when I said about styling, this piece here, when I first got the figures, I did a pre-inspection where I opened them all up just to check out the head sculpts, make sure there's nothing wrong, and then I finally unboxed like a day or two later. This piece here, every head sculpt comes in the standard, if you have InArt, even the artisan figures, comes in a jar, and then actually had a piece of plastic wrapped around each head sculpt to keep it contained. The thing with this piece is the plastic wrap actually compressed the green hair on the wig. And so I quickly removed that, and I had to puff out the hair a little bit to give it a volume. It was very flat on the sides, and that's because it was obviously compressed with the plastic. And so that's the only maintenance, if you want to call it, that I had to do on any of the four. But when it comes to the actual rooting, as I said, I had to do no maintenance. So that is the only thing I had to do on this. The jacket on this is wired, so it gives a little bit of dynamic, especially the pose that I have here with his hands out. This is just a fun piece. I love the sign, everything must go. I love it has the mechanism on the back, the handle, so you can actually have it fully spinning if you want. His feet too. The magnet on this is very strong, where you can, if you balance him, you can have him on one leg as if he's either running or being goofy, whichever you want. But like I said, I think this pose I love this pose. This is one I don't foresee changing. Another note is that aside from this figure, all of the other three actually share the same type of hands. This is the only figure, because he has gloves, that has dedicated hands for his own. But for when you open up the figure package, you actually get a couple identical hands. Like InArt gives you a couple replica. For example, the hand smoking the cigarette, they actually give you two of those hands, because you can have certain figures, with the same pose if you wanted. But this figure himself has his own set of gloves that are specific to him. The hat on top of the head is magnetic, and that expression is just it just is so amazing. This is probably the strongest, I think, if I really had to pick. This is probably one of the strongest of the four in terms of the overall likeness, but not only that, capturing the essence of the figure. Once again, the tailoring on this is all identical to the previous figure you've seen, and there was no fluke in terms of running them back to back. I just grabbed this one and put it on there. Once again, another criticism I have is obviously the base. Yes, he was outside on the street, so it's like, what could you do with it? It is just a little bit of a letdown that this ends up being my favorite Joker, and he has just a minimal rectangular base, or square base for that matter, and so it's just something that I wish that maybe InArt had stepped up on it. When it comes to the hospital outfit, he does come with the white jacket. He even comes with an actual name badge that goes on his coat. He comes with the pistol. If you want to have him with the pistol, you do that as well. But like I said, he just comes with all that stuff. The red ball on his nose, that's fixed on there, so you can't do anything with that. But I just think the sculpt and the paintwork, like I said, you see this, and then you kind of see the figure before, which is the later version when the makeup's kind of worn in and there's blood on it. Once again, it doesn't drop off in terms of consistency, which I think is something, once again, that really impressed me a lot about this set, is the consistency from figure to figure. Now we're going to move on to arguably everyone's favorite, or the piece that everyone wanted, which is the red suit. This is the one that actually surprisingly gave me the most trouble, and I'll explain why. I have him first rotating on just the chair itself because it's difficult with the base in the background to have it all together, but we will talk about the base first. I am so impressed with the quality that InArt did on this. You have the light up feature on the bottom, which is operated by 3 AA batteries. I do plan on installing the batteries with the USB so they permanently stay on. You do have the option of the 2 spotlights above, which is the independent light batteries. I didn't bother turning those on because they were just going to die. But you have the chair here, which is also incredibly impressive and very heavy. It's all molded out of like a resin. The one thing I don't like about it is that when you go to lift it up, it literally just sits on that base. So you have to be careful when you go to lift it up. You have to lift it up kind of with that metal base as well, because it is just going to pop right off. Love the detailing on the cushion that shows, the texture, the contour of him sitting in the chair. And then, like I said, the figure itself with the shoes, the kind of the socks. The tailoring on this suit is really great. I think it really represents the character well. Now, one thing it's hard for me to demonstrate, and I don't know if anyone has explained this. When I did, once again, that pre-inspection, this is the first figure I grabbed out of the box because I had one major concern, and that is the lapel on the jacket. I've seen a lot of reviews of this figure where the lapels on the left and the right, just for some reason, stick almost straight up in the air. They really should be more flush to the jacket. However, if I have my figure in an upright pose, it does do that, but the fact that he's sitting down, it is kind of ruffle the material up a little bit. I can foresee the material over time maybe having to be steamed or, to kind of get a lot of the wrinkles out. It does seem like it's prone for that. There is a wire in the jacket to help bend it in a certain way. But when it comes to this pose, I really tried out a lot of different poses with this figure. I wanted to maximize the accessories with the chair, the gun, everything like that. I tried him holding the notebook. I tried him smoking a cigarette, but the cigarette wasn't accurate to that scene. He didn't smoke a cigarette on the show. So I was trying to think, well, what else could I do? So I had the gun, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to put the gun in his hand as if he just shot Maury and he's just kind of sitting there contemplating what he did. I think that's the best representation of what I could do with this figure. The gun looks fantastic. He has his hand on the chair. Now, the one thing also, once again, I want to reiterate, and this is something I think has to do with the ingenuity of InArt, is that when I picked up this figure, when I grabbed the figure out of the box, I grabbed it by the legs. And when I did that, I almost felt like something was broken. I was really worried that I thought this figure was broken out of the box. But in fact, it seems like what InArt did was they thought about, well, if people are going to have this figure sit down, how can they design something that this figure is sitting properly in a chair, which anyone who has 6-scale figures with suits knows they can be extremely restricting. It seems like what InArt did is on the back thighs of both of this figure, there's actually kind of like a little cutaway where it's like a little spring-loaded door that actually collapses inward. And I think what that's meant to do is when you cross the legs, it actually allows the legs to kind of get thin out a little bit to allow for them to actually sit down properly. I think that was an ingenious idea. So these technically are custom bodies for these figures, and every single figure has that same type of system. So if you want to have him sitting down, he's not going to look like, you can see he looks very natural here. It's because under the thigh right there, there's actually a little bit of you can actually press it inward and it kind of collapses inward, and you can feel there's like a spring hinge. And I thought that was very interesting. It's something that I really can't demonstrate on camera without having to strip the figure down. But this is such an impressive piece. You can see there the lapel sticking upward. And I know it's because it's riding out because he's sitting down, but it's the best that I can do. I thought about steaming it to maybe flatten it out a little bit, but it's not really a deal breaker if you're looking at it straight on. The sculpt, once again, it's a dead ringer. I thought I might have to adjust the hair, but the hair on it looks great once it's installed on the body. When you're installing the sculpt, like on this figure in particular, you should turn around and really take the collar and flip the collar up. That way, that gives you the ability to actually install the head sculpt and then, roll it back. And this is what the figure looks like on the diorama, which is equally as impressive. I mean, kudos to InArt for this, for really making an inaccurate diorama, in my opinion. I looked at this compared to the Hot Toys artisan, and I'm not impressed with what Hot Toys did. This is more accurate to the movie, and you also have the drop cloth behind if you want to have him posed up as if he's dancing in front of the curtain right before going on the Maury show. So you have that option of doing that as well. So kudos to InArt for this display base. It's so heavy, so impressive. It's a visually stunning piece. And frankly, I am excited to see the Hot Toys artisan, but from what I see in photos, I think InArt, at least from the design point of view of this diorama, I think they killed it just because it looks a lot more accurate than the Hot Toys one. And that's just my opinion. And then finally, to round this out, just to give you guys some close-up shots, once again, of the figure itself. So now rounding this one out is probably my second favorite figure, which is the basic. It's the Arthur Fleck. Now, before I jump into this, I know you guys are going to be seeing this piece here, this diorama that I put together. This is not from InArt. So the one piece that I will not be using is actually the steps, and you see them there in the background. There is a reason for that. I'm just not a fan of what the steps look like or how, and that had to go back to my posing of the figures. So this is the Arthur Fleck here. This is a very interesting pose that I put together. It's not movie canon. It's just something that I was thinking about when it came to using all of the accessories and how could I use them in a good way that they're fully maximized. So these are the steps, and obviously InArt did the best they could with trying to use forced perspective with getting that really long shot. And you can see the Joker there. They did a good job of it. It does look good on camera, but in person, it just doesn't translate for me personally. There is a piece there of rock that you can remove to put in a grabber. So if you want to have the red Joker dancing or Arthur walking up the steps, you can do that. So there was no doubt in my mind that the red suit Joker was going to go with the Mori base. So that being said, I didn't really want to have Arthur just walking up the steps. Instead, although this is a great piece, I'm probably going to end up saving that for when I get the Hot Toys Artisan red suit Joker and maybe have him dancing. What this piece that you see here is, this is from a company called Bullet Head, and they made a third-party figure called The Entertainer not a couple of years ago, and it's basically this version of Arthur Fleck and then this diorama, which I thought was so great. It does have lights, so it does light up. It comes with the chair, comes with the mirror, the desk. It comes with that wig and that base, some makeup, the newspaper, and the makeup brush. That's what it comes with. The pill bottles, the clown mask, the notebook, that's all InArt. The wand, that's all InArt stuff. So it's a mix of both accessories. I didn't put all of the other stuff out there because I only put out what InArt did better. That's the InArt bag also. So I only displayed the bullet head accessories that were either A, unique, or ones that InArt didn't make. So this is definitely a combination. The lights are on. I think the battery is a little weak, so I might replace that. It's a watch battery, and I love that put on a happy face. I just love that look. So I tried displaying this with the red suit Joker, and I had his arm on there as if like he was smoking a cigarette. But ultimately, this is obviously the display from the very beginning of the movie when he was putting the clown makeup on. So the pose that I decided to go with this figure was Arthur smoking a cigarette, because I love that gesture hand. I definitely wanted at least one of these figures smoking a cigarette, and he's just kind of like playing around, and basically what my thought process was, he was testing out before he met Bruce Wayne, like he was testing out his, like what he was going to do meeting Bruce, because I love all these accessories, and I feel like he almost could get duplicates of the figures to really show off all of the accessories. I really liked the Arthur with the red, the ball in his nose and holding the magic wand. I loved all that stuff. So it's really difficult. And that was the biggest challenge, was how do you display each figure that represented it so well, but also what's fun to look at in your display. So this is the one that's definitely not accurate to the movie. I took the jacket, slung it over the chair. So I just wanted to kind of make up like a little scene here, which I thought was a lot of fun. I've been, buying a lot of 12th scale figures and dioramas. So I kind of translated a little bit over to 6th scale by using this diorama piece. But like I said, it's nowhere near anything in the movie. But the tailoring on this piece, once again, is great. I took the jacket off because I think it looks better with just his, his vest on, his sweater vest, and then his shirt. And the tailoring, the head sculpt, like I said, for Joaquin Phoenix, it's stunning. Absolutely stunning. I've seen some other reviewers say they don't think the likeness is quite there. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely. I'm a huge Joaquin Phoenix fan, and so I'm so glad that they tackled this one. And for those out there that opted for the 2-pack of the Joker and the Arthur Fleck, you're not going to be disappointed. I am very happy that I almost said Hot Toys. I'm so happy that InArt decided to make that 2-pack for collectors out there, because I would say that the red suit Joker and this Arthur are probably the two most desirable overall. And so for people that are getting that, I'm very happy for you guys. And I think you guys are going to have a fantastic unboxing experience with those two figures, without a doubt. In terms of any QC, I had no QC issues with this set. I had no difficulty unboxing anything. The head sculpts went on very easily. I will say I was overwhelmed with the amount of stuff. Like when you opened it up, there was just layers upon layers of accessories, the figures. I mean, they didn't skimp on anything. You're legitimately opening up 4 figures, individually, but in one big set. So this was an all day unboxing for me. I opened it up first thing in the morning, and I literally spent the whole day just going through everything, figuring out poses. I rewatched scenes in the movie, just trying to get an idea of how I want to tell a story with these figures. I do see myself maybe changing it up. I am getting the Hot Toys Artisan as well, because I do want to see what they bring to the table. This is one of my favorite Joker movies, or Joker interpretations. And so I'm all in on anything with this character. And so what I might end up doing is using that Joker, the Hot Toys version, having him dancing on the steps of the InArt base to complete that scene with him maybe smoking a cigarette. That is what I plan on doing. I don't have the intentions of using the Hot Toys diorama because I think InArt did a better job. That's just my opinion. But getting back to this figure, you could just see the flesh tone on this is just amazing. And the hair, the detail work they did on this was absolutely stunning. So guys, there you have it. This is my showcasing of the Joker 4-pack. I hope you really enjoyed this video. It was a little bit of a long one. I thought about breaking this up into separate videos, but frankly, I didn't think it was worth it. I think I did the best I could showcasing each figure, giving you a little breakdown of each. Like I said, I had no issues unboxing this in terms of QC. I had a blast. This was the best 6-scale figure unboxing experience that I've ever had. Prior to that, it was the Harry Potter figures. This trumped that. Obviously, because it's a 4-pack, it should be pretty easy to do so. I am not that person that Joker 2 ruined the experience by any means. So if you do have this on order, I implore you to keep this I wouldn't consider canceling it because Joker 2 sucked. I mean, I just wouldn't do that. This is just an amazing, amazing set. The bullet head diorama from, this, if you want to try to replicate that, is extremely hard to come by. They're not available that much out there, and you might resort ending up to buying the figure. The figure is still available brand new. Depends on how much that set is worth to you. The figure itself is garbage, but for the diorama and all accessories, I'm not really sure. But overall, how you see these figures is how I plan to keep them in my display. I like the way that I told the story with each piece. Every so often, I might decide to repose some of them, maybe the red suit Joker. I am going to keep my eye on that figure specifically to see how the tailoring on the suit holds up from sitting in the chair so long. I might give it a few weeks and then maybe unpose him and straighten him out in a museum pose to see how the quality holds up on the tailoring, if there's any major creasing or anything like that that needs to be adjusted. So I'm going to keep my eye out for that one. I'm not too concerned about the rooting, anything like that. They put up more than enough product in these figures that the actual hair is going to maintain the quality. So I have no concerns about that whatsoever. I'm just really, every time I look at them on the shelf, they're just stunning. I'm speechless looking at them, and I find myself going back and looking at them over and over and over again. So once again, InArt, they just hit a home run with this. This is a very niche set. I know it's something not everyone is going to get, but for those that are getting the 2-pack, like I said, you are going to really enjoy this. This set, I think they did a hell of a job, InArt did on this, and I am excited to see Hot Toys' interpretation of this red suit Joker and to see how that compares. So probably the next time I do some footage on this is when that figure comes out, and I'll be doing a comparison head to head and then do some showcasing. I do have some other video ideas using this Joker that you may see on my channel, so make sure to drop a like. Please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell for any upcoming videos that I have in the works. But let me know what your thoughts are below. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Haven't been putting out a lot of content lately, really busy with family and things like that. So I'm more or less taking it slow and putting out content when I have the time, because I want to put out quality content. That's what's most important to me. But like I said, drop a comment, drop a like. Please consider subscribing. I love talking to all you guys in the comments. And until then, as always, this is Mr. Mom Collectibles saying take care, and I will see you guys in the next video.